Hi, welcome to Muzzle First. Today we're going to talk about cleaning the Ruger LCP. So we're going to take it apart, we're going to clean it, and we're going to put it back together. Alright? Alright, so step one, you always want to clear the gun. We're going to remove the magazine. We're going to remove the round out of the chamber. I'm going to put that completely out of the way. Alright? So we're going to do a takedown on the Ruger. I do have a separate video on how to disassemble the Ruger if you want. I'll see if I can put a link to that below. I use a little small zip tie. I don't like using anything metal to pull it out. Some people use their fingernails. It always hurt my fingernails doing that, so I generally use a zip tie to do it with. Pull it out for me. We're going to pull the slide off the frame. I'm going to set the frame aside. We will clean out the frame a little bit, and I'll show you what to look for in there. Alright, so we're going to pull the springs apart, pull the guide right out. There's really not a whole lot of parts to the LCP, which makes it really good for cleaning. Alright, so for cleaning, I use hops. That's my preferred cleaner. You can use whatever you want. You technically can use you can just use an oil if you want to clean it with. You don't have to really use a cleaner, but I prefer to use a cleaner to clean it. Alright, so we're going to clean the inside of it, inside the slide. You want to make sure you get this part right back here, because you will get a lot of residue on the back here. You want to get the face here, and you want to work it under the extractor, because you'll get quite a bit of junk built up under the extractor, and you can get an idea. That's just real quick. That's just from under the extractor. That's where all that came from, right there. So I'm going to do this really quick. I'm not going to do a real thorough cleaning. I'm not going to brush the bore today, because I have not shot this since I've shot it. You can see it's really clean in there. But I generally use after I fired it, I'll use a brush on the bore, soaked in hops. So I'll run a rag through it, soaked in hops, and I'll run a bore brush through it, and then another rag through it, and dry it and oil it and call it done. So for right now, we're just going to do a quick clean on it. You want to wipe everything down. You want to make sure that you get the little part right there. You want to get that really good, because that is actually the feed ramp. So that is actually what the bullet rides on to go up into the chamber. So it's important that stays clean. I do like to clean the springs. Springs don't generally get that dirty, but you will get some junk on them. And you can run a towel in between them if you want, and just kind of feed it around through here if you want. I'll show you. If you want to get the springs clean really good, you can just kind of wrap a towel around it and just kind of run it through it like that. See if we get anything off of it or not. Yeah, so it came out really clean. They will get a little junk on them, but the springs themselves won't get a whole lot. Alright, clean the guide rod. And I always wipe down the takedown pin. I don't know if the takedown pin gets a lot of crud built up on it. Alright, so what you're going to want to do, you're going to make sure that you clean the rails on the frame. We're going to clean both sides. And you just want to wipe down the inside of the frame as best as you can. Now, the mag well, I don't know if you can see that. The mag well in there will get dirt in it. I don't generally run a wet, cloth through that, but I do run, when I'm wiping it down, I'll run the dry towel through there. You want to get any kind of residue that have fallen down in there. You want to get that all out. And there's a couple little tricky areas in here, and I'll show you real quick here. Alright, so I use a Q-tip. And just dampen it. And right here, under the hammer, see if we can see that, there's a little spot here that collects a lot of lint, mostly. And I just like to make sure that that is nice and clean. Alright, and you want to clean the front with the hammer. Alright. I'm going to inspect that down in there. But you will get some dirt in there. Alright, and let's just wipe it clean. I'm going to dry it off here. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing this. I guess everybody kind of has their own system. Some people will detail clean every little speck of dirt that gets in their gun. I like to clean it to where it's functional. I may not get every little speck of dirt in here. There's some areas that I detail clean better than others. One of them are these rails. You definitely want to make sure that these are clean. And you want to do the same thing on the slide. There's little rails here on the side. We're going to scrub those. I want to make sure those are clean. Anything that gets down in there is going to cause abrasion, and you don't want that. You want the slide nice and smooth. Alright. I'm going to do the same thing with the slide. I'm going to wipe it down. Just going to wipe stuff off of it. There's one more little tricky area to get to, and that's right here where your springs sit. There's a little recess there. There you go. You can see that. Just kind of stick a Q-tip in there with some hops on it. You will get some little bit of junk out of there. And then right here where the barrel rides in the slide. The barrel rides on that, so you'll get a good little bit of dirt on that. Alright. Clean the face here again. Yeah, that looks good. Just gonna wipe everything down. Like I said, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. You can detail clean it if you want. You can go over it a couple times, make sure you get every little nook and cranny. But honestly, you don't really need to clean that much if you don't have time. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, wipe down the barrel. But after you've been shooting it, the inside of the barrel will be your dirtiest part. Like I said, I've not really shot this, but yeah, let's see if I can fish this through there. There we go. So you got any kind of lint. After carrying these for a while, especially in the pocket, I prefer to carry these in a pocket holster. I have a in waistband holster for the LCP, but it just if I'm going to carry it in waistband, something that's going to go on my waist, I'm going to carry a little more firepower than what these guys have. These are a great pocket pistol. If you don't have another gun that'll fit in your pocket, you got a pair of blue jeans that are small pockets on them or something, dress pants with small pockets, this is the gun you want. I've not found a pair of pants that won't fit in, including jackets. This will work as a backup gun in your vest pocket on your jacket. I do that also. I use it as a secondary, as a backup. Alright, so we're just going to wipe the rest of that hops off here. Alright, we're going to put some oil on it. We'll do this real quick here. So what I do with the magazine well, I just push a towel through it. Once again, I'm using something plastic. I don't like using a lot of metal tools in here on the frame. And you're just going to wipe it out. And you can see that came nice and clean in there. Generally what I found, the stuff that gets down in the magazine well generally does not adhere real good. It's generally dry. So you can usually just wipe it out. Alright, for oil, for the LCP, I like to use Rim oil. You can use whatever you want, really. I use Rim oil specifically because it dries. Rim oil, you put it on and it dries. and leaves a little slick surface to it. Alright. I'm not real big on the spray bottles. I prefer to use it with Q-tips. But rim oil, for some reason, it's kind of hard to find in regular bottles. So I'm going to use a Q-tip. Alright. I'm just going to dip the Q-tip in it. And we're going to get the inside of these frame rails. Alright, so if you don't lubricate anything on the LCP, put a little bit of lube on these frame rails. I've also, some people will use a dropper, and they'll put a drop on each side, put it together, work it. That kind of works, but what you end up doing a lot of times is you end up with a big glob on the back. Because as soon as you put it together, it's going to hit that glob that you put on the frame rails, and it's going to push it back and start smearing it, but you're going to end up with a huge glob on the back. So I generally use a Q-tip, and I'll smear it around in here. You also want to lubricate right here inside the slide where the barrel rides, alright? And you want to lubricate right here where the spring sits. Your spring does move a little bit in here. I like to put a little bit of lube in there for it. Alright? Problem with Q-tips, they kind of come apart after a while. So I'll show you what else I use. Alright. There's another tool for lubing these that works really good, and I've been doing for a couple of years now, and that's a paintbrush. I don't know if you've ever used a paintbrush on your guns, but I'll show you how it works. Alright, just dip it in the oil. You don't need to squirt a bunch of oil anywhere. Just dip it, paint it on. See that? It goes on nice and thin. Nice thin coat. The one thing I like about this rim oil, like I told you, I'm not a big fan of rim oil, and this is, my carry gun is the only thing I use rim oil on. And I use it because it dries. That is a problem with rim oil for anything else I'm using. If you've got a gun I'm putting in a safe, I don't use rim oil on it because rim oil does dry. And it does not take it long. With a carry gun, that works good because if you put a bunch of oil on this, you put it in a holster, you hang it upside down in your pocket pointing down like that, which how everybody carries it, all your oil runs down. It's not running fast, but it runs down constantly. Alright, so I just paint the oil on here. I literally paint it on there. Right, if you don't have a paintbrush, Q-tips work just fine. But you will notice I'm not using a whole lot of oil here. That's one of the benefits of using a paintbrush, is that you can't get a whole lot of oil on that paintbrush. You don't need drops of it, just a little paintbrush. See that? I can do everything with a paintbrush with oiling that I can do with a Q-tip. Q-tip works better for cleaning because you can kind of scrub with it. You can't scrub with a paintbrush, but they do actually have some brushes that are stiff that do kind of work for scrubbing, but I still find a Q-tip works best for me. Alright, I forgot to do the outside of the rails here. Alright, so I'm just going to paint this on there. Alright, I'm going to do the outside of the barrel. Your barrel rides in the front of the slide. It rides right in there. So I'm going to lube this. This rim oil is going to dry, and it's going to leave a nice slick coat on here. Alright, so I'm not that worried about the rim oil running off on me and getting all over everything. It's just not going to do it. It's going to dry before it runs that far. Plus I'm not putting it on that thick. But alright, I'm going to lube in here. And then I'm going to put this back together. Alright, that is done. Your guide rod, I'm going to lube the guide rod. Your springs do right on this, so I like to have a little bit of lube on there. Drop these springs together. Just remember when putting it back together, that flared end, you can see that flared end goes toward the muzzle. Alright, put these together. I'll slide the guide rod in the back. Once again, that flared end, it's going to go right in that little slot there. Guide rod rests right there in the barrel. Alright, you see that that rim oil, just a little time that we've been here, it's already starting to dry. See how it's shiny it still is? It's drying already, but it's going to leave a nice slick surface on there, so we don't have to worry about that. There we go. Take the tension off of this. Put it back together. Make sure it cycles. You're good to go. Wipe it down so it's nice and dry on the outside. You don't want all that oil going out into your holster. Alright. That's good. Alright. That's all I do for cleaning. It's ready to go. I'm going to load it back up and put it back in the holster and put it back in the safe. When I put my jacket on later today to go out, this will go in my jacket pocket. That's where it lives right now. Alright, well, thank you for watching. You have a good day. Bye.